to another episode of Motivational Mondays, where we kick off your week with positivity, inspiration, and a little push to get you closer to your goals. I'm your host, Gina Serena Queens, and today we're diving into a topic that we've all faced at some point in our lives, and that's overcoming fear. So today we're going to be talking about fear, the nature of fear, and practical steps to overcome fear. But first, I want to start off with saying that fear is a powerful emotion. It's what keeps us safe, but it's also often something that holds us back too, whether it's fear of failure or fear of rejection or even just fear of success. The truth is fear can be our biggest roadblock to achieving greatness. But here's the good news. Fear is something that we can conquer. So we're going to talk about that today. First, let's kind of understand fear. Fear is natural. It's our brain's way of protecting us from perceived danger. But, the problem is our brains can't always tell the difference, between real threats and imagined ones. So that's why we get paralyzed by fear when we're about to try something new or take a big risk or step outside of our comfort zones. Which first leads me to my first quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. We definitely had him before. He said, "Do things you fear, and the death of fear is certain." You know what I mean? I just want y'all to think about that just for a hot second. The best way to conquer fear is to face it really head on. Action is pretty much the antidote to fear. You gotta just be just bump that. I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about some practical steps to overcome fear. So how do we face our fears? I'm just going to give you just these steps. I think it's 3. Okay. So the first one is acknowledge your fear. Don't ignore it or try to push it aside. Instead, just name it, say it out loud, and just say to yourself, hey, I'm afraid of failing at this project. Or I'm afraid of putting myself out there. Be real with yourself and just say, hey, I am a little, reserved about this. I'm kind of frightful. Or I do have some, some things I kind of fear about this a little bit, And in you doing that, you take away its power of the fear because at least you're acknowledging it, right? Next, I want you to do is break it down. You know what I mean? Fear often feels overwhelming because we're looking at the entire mountain instead of the first step. Break it down, break down the task into smaller, manageable pieces. Focus on what you can do today, not everything that needs to be done at once. You know what I mean? Like I was saying before, start off small. Trust me, the little small steps make a big impact. So I always tell you guys that start small, do small little things first. It'll be very helpful. That way, like I said, it won't be feeling so overwhelming. You won't have to think about everything I gotta do so much. But yeah. And then lastly, I want you to take action anyway. Regardless if you feel scared, just jump in the water, fishies. It's okay. You're gonna come up swimming. Trust me. You're gonna be good. And sometimes just a leap of faith is all you need. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do it. I can tell you right now from personal experience, it's a lot of situations I've just went into and I was just I'm just gonna go and do it. And I did, and I was happy that I did because it was a great experience because I was scared and it was the rush of it. I mean, I'm like a weirdo. I kind of like that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's the rush of it. It's the unknown thing about it. I don't know, it just intrigues me. So I love just jumping in head first on a new adventure or something I want to try out new. It's just exciting. That's just me, but trust me, it's always been well worth it every time I've done it. So you can take my word for it from personal experience that you can go ahead and do that. So, but bottom line is what I'm saying. Even if your hands are shaking and your heart is racing, take one step forward. And this leads me to my next quote from George Addair. He said, "Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear." So like I was saying, just go ahead, jump in head first, and trust me, the experience of even trying to figure it out or going through it is fun. Because trust me, when you look back on it in hindsight, you be like, oh, that was tough, but it was fun, and you glad you learned the experience and you came out on the other side. So it's definitely going to be a good thing. It's going to be a fun experience trying to overcome your fear. It's frightening at first. It's hard to explain. It's frightening at first, but once you go ahead and do it, like, I guess that's like the exciting part about it for me. I don't know. But anyway, let's go into the next part I want to talk about is inspiration. You know what I mean? So I want you to know that fear is not your enemy. You know, it's your guide. You know, when you feel fear, it's often a sign that you're about to do something important. You know, something that could change your life or others' lives for that matter, you know. And this leaves me with my last quote. This is Japanese Proverb. Fear is only as deep as the mind allows. Fear doesn't control you. You control it. You know, so just saying, you are stronger, braver, and more capable than you realize. So I just want to leave that with you. You know, so this week I challenge you to identify one fear that's been holding you back and, you know, having you just like not doing anything to take action because it's like so daunting. But, you know, take one step forward to overcome it. You know, it doesn't have to be something huge. Like I always say, start off small. The very small steps, making that phone call, just filling out some paperwork, anything that's the small part. Try to do that first. It's just like one step forward. Trust me, it'll be great. Point is, it's progress, you know? So even if it's slow progress, you're still making some progress. So no matter how small it is, whatever the case may have you, go ahead and do it. That's it for today. My returning listeners, you know I love you. You know I love you. Returning listeners, love you. Newcomers, love you too. Thank you for joining us for another week of Motivational Mondays. I hope everybody's weekend was great. I hope your weekend ahead is going to be great. And, you know, unfortunately, we are out here live.